Hello, YouTube. My name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka What Kind of Snatch You Want, because I got plenty to go around. This is my WWE Smackdown with me on high. So, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more ways content I do on the channel, because I give you guys a full review, not the half my review. Follow my social media down below in the description, and go check out my AEW Dynamite review on highlights, and also go check out my WWE NXT review on highlights, and go check out my WWE Raw review on highlights I did on the channel. All right, without further ado, let's get started. Now, WWE Smackdown was a decent show, and that's all I gotta say. All right, WWE Smackdown was live from In Market Arena in Savannah, Georgia. Wait, so we go to WWE Then Now Forever Together. Our usual arena entrance gets interrupted by Damian Priest going after Drew McIntyre before security breaks it up. From there, we head to ringside where it is officially Tiffy time. This was a good segment to kick off the show. The WWE Women's Champion heads down to the ramp to a nice pop from the crowd before addressing the fact she's best. She beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 41, and then Nia Jax just last week. She turns her attention to Money in the Bank when someone has a chance to what she did. Be, do what she did, but before she can ensue a warning to whoever wins the briefcase this year. Alexa Bliss makes her way out. The crowd cheers for Alexa Bliss as she introduces herself as a fellow former women's champion and Money in the Bank winner. She takes a moment to address Charlotte Flair before turning her attention back to Tiffany Stratton, saying the two have something in common, having cashed in on Nia Jax. But the difference is Alexa Bliss likes Nia Jax, but she doesn't know Tiffany Stratton. She gives the champion a warning of what could happen when she wins Money in the Bank, and Charlotte Flair pulls out Joe Hendry by appearing thanks to the mention of her name. The crowd is not having it as Charlotte Flair talks about her humanly coming out here tonight to congratulate Tiffany Stratton on beating her at WrestleMania 41. She does all she can to talk over the sea of booze as she talks about doing everything to this company except win Money in the Bank. And when she does, not only does she plan on taking back her title, but also the spotlight. When she wants something, she doesn't wait, she just takes it. Tiffany Stratton calls her a hypocrite, addressing her previous remarks about winning Money in the Bank being the easy way out, but calling Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss vintage very she's an upgrade. No matter where she goes, it will always be Tiffy time. The champ takes her leave from the ring, heading up the ramp, which when the madness Giulia makes her way out for our opening contest. She takes on Charlotte Flair and Selena Vega, and the beautiful madness heads to the ring as we go to commercial break. This was a great segment to kick off SmackDown. Um, that's all I gotta say. But I'm glad that Charlotte Flair did not get qualified for the Women's Money in the Bank. Thank God. That's all I gotta say. Back from the break, Selena Vega makes her entrance as the new Women's United States Champion. Looks to advance to the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match as this qualifier gets away. So we get the Women's Money in the Bank triple threat qualifier match: Charlotte Flair versus Selena Vega versus the Madness Giulia. This match was fantastic, but that Julia, thank God that Julia won, and thank God that Charlotte Flair is not going to the Women's Money in the Bank. If this was Charlotte Flair winning tonight, I would have crashed out. But thank God I did not crash out. But I'm glad Julia won. But I give credit to Selena Vega and Julia. Selena Vega put up a good fight against Julia and against Charlotte Flair as well too. But I'm glad that Julia won this match. But I'm glad Charlotte Flair did not win this match because I don't want to see Charlotte Flair in the Money in the Bank. But thank God that did not happen. But this triple threat match was this was a good this match was this was a good triple threat match. Selena Vega finds herself in the middle of a stare down between Charlotte Flair and Giulia before Charlotte Flair sends her out of the ring. She goes after Giulia, but the Women's United States Champion won't have it, taking the Queen down hard to the mat. Giulia gets into it now before being knocked away by Charlotte Flair, who hits a fallaway slam on Selena Vega. Giulia looks to take a few shots of her own on Selena Vega, this this leads to Charlotte Flair sending her into the midsection of the U.S. champion. Selena Vega leaves the ring as Giulia gets the upper hand on Charlotte Flair, landing some hard strikes before the Queen strikes back. This ends in a double down, but Selena Vega is back in the ring for for a double suplex attempt to go on Ari before she turns it into a DDT for a pair of near falls. Selena Vega is taken out of the ring before Giulia take a boot to the face, sending her to the floor. Charlotte Flair leaves the ring to go after her, but this leaves her and Giulia open to a dive from Selena Vega as we go to picture in picture. We're back from picture in picture. Giulia and Charlotte Flair revisit their temporary alliance to continue the beatdown on Selena Vega, bringing her back into the ring. They land a double suplex on the U.S. champion before turning their attention to each other, with Charlotte Flair getting a roll up for a 2 count on the Beautiful Madness. Charlotte Flair approaches Selena Vega in the corner, but Selena Vega takes a jawbreaker with Selena Vega rolling up Charlotte Flair for a near fall of her own. Giulia sees her opening for a back suplex, but Charlotte Flair breaks up the pin attempt that follows. This leads to a shoving contest between Giulia and Charlotte Flair, but before Giulia takes the Queen down with a dropkick, Charlotte Flair strikes back, sending her into the corner for a near fall. We come back to the action. Giulia is back to her feet, fighting back with some strikes, sending Charlotte Flair to the ropes before she is taken down with a kick. Selena Vega goes after Charlotte Flair only to be set up on her shoulders, where Giulia hits a drop kick, sending both women down. This gives her a 2 count on Selena Vega and Charlotte Flair in succession. Giulia keeps things up, sending Charlotte Flair to the corner, but Charlotte Flair fights back to take control before going up top for a crossbody onto Giulia and Selena Vega. The latter fighting back with a head scissors into a submission hold. Giulia breaks the hold, but is taken down by Charlotte Flair, who steps on both her opponents before going up top for a moonsault. She covers both women, but she only gets a 2 count. Giulia sends Selena Vega to the ropes before locking in a ring subsider on Charlotte Flair, who counters for a near fall to break the hold. Selena Vega with a kick to and break things up in a 6-1 out on Charlotte Flair, but Giulia headbutts her before going after for going after Charlotte Flair once more, running into a spear by Charlotte Flair. Near fall for the Queen, who sends Selena Vega out of the ring before Giulia breaks free of a figure eight for a near fall. Charlotte Flair gives it another try, but takes a meteor to the face by Selena Vega. Selena Vega with a cold red on Giulia before, but Charlotte Flair managed to break up the pin attempt. The crowd showing their appreciation as Giulia is sent out of the ring, with Selena Vega dodging a spear attempt, only to take a boot to the face by Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair goes for a figure eight once more, but Giulia hits a double stomp before Selena Vega can tap. Selena Vega rolls out of the ring as Giulia lands a Northern Lights bomb for the pin and the win. The winner by the winner by pinfall and advancing to the Money in the Bank women's ladder match, the Madness herself, Giulia. This match was fantastic, but thank God that Charlotte Flair is not going to the women's Money in the Bank. Thank God, I was so freaking happy that Charlotte Flair is not going to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. But I'm so happy that Giulia won though. But like I said this before, the MVP goes to Giulia and Selena Vega. That's all I gotta say. But I'm glad that I'm glad that Charlotte Flair is not going to the Women's Money in the Bank. Thank goodness, I was so happy. But the MVP goes to Giulia and Selena Vega. That's all I gotta say. All right, Giulia with celebrates her win, looking up at the briefcase hanging over the ring. Video package. DIY addresses the state of things with the tag team division, Motor City Machine Guns in particular, before Ciampa addresses facing Chris Sabin tonight on SmackDown. Back at ringside, Chris Sabin makes his way out for our next match, ready to take on Tommaso Ciampa as we go to commercial break. So we go to commercial break. We cut backstage to see Chelsea Green run down Selena Vega, only for the champ to strike back before a brawl breaks out alongside the Secret Hermits, Mitch and B Fab. Security breaks it up as we end up getting a tag match for later tonight. Secret Hermits versus Mitch and B Fab. From there we head back to ringside as Tommaso Ciampa makes his way down to the ramp, gets this match on the way. So we get the second match. So we get Chris Sabin versus Tommaso Ciampa, and this match right here, this was a decent match for what it was. The two circled the mat before locking up, with Chris Sabin building up speed to hit a shoulder tackle before trapping Tommaso Ciampa's arm. Tommaso Ciampa gets to his feet, but is kept at bay by Chris Sabin, finally breaking the hold with an elbow to the head. Chris Sabin sent to the corner as Ciampa stomps away at him, with Johnny Gargano mounting off at him as Ciampa backs away, snapped by Tommaso Ciampa, who gets a 2 count before continuing the beatdown. Chris Sabin gets to his feet, but is sent to the ropes by Ciampa, who hits a DDT before sending him to the outside. DIY celebrates with a round of applause for themselves as we go to commercial break. Yep, so we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Ciampa still has control as he hits a neckbreak on Chris Sabin, who then catches Tommaso Ciampa, but they move from the corner to get back into things. German suplex connects, allowing Chris Sabin to set up for a run the kick to run the kick in a 2 count. Tommaso Ciampa escapes the ring for a word from Johnny Gargano, trading strikes with Chris Sabin on the canvas before dropping him onto the hardest part of the ring. He brings Chris Sabin back into the ring, but only gets a 2 count for his efforts. Chris Sabin escapes the grasp of Ciampa, sending him away with a dragon screw before heading to the corner before a diving cutter, but Tommaso Ciampa kicks out. Johnny Gargano hopes Johnny Gargano hops on the apron to get involved, but gets knocked away before Chris Sabin goes back after Tommaso Ciampa, who seems to be hurt as he backs away. The referee checks on him as we see Candice LeRae comes to ringside for a sneak attack on Chris Sabin. He she hides as Chris Sabin hits a running knee hits a running knee on Tommaso Ciampa. It says Chris Sabin. What does that say? She hides as Chris Sabin hits a as Tommaso Ciampa hits a running knee on Chris Sabin for the victory. The winner of the match, Tommaso Ciampa. This was a decent match. But what was Candice LeRae doing out there? Candice LeRae has no business out there. But anyway, this was a decent match between Chris Sabin and Tommaso Ciampa. Alright. Gargano and Candice LeRae celebrate with Tommaso Ciampa as we cut backstage. Hearing from Fraxum ahead of their tag team title match later tonight. We get a look at Shinsuke Nakamura ahead of the men's Money in the Bank qualifier, but up next we hear about John Cena's past since winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 41. But what was the whole point about The Rock being at the Elimination Chamber when John Cena turned heel? The Rock wasn't there at WrestleMania 41 when John Cena defeated Cody Rhodes to become the undisputed WWE champion and broke the record. The Rock wasn't there at WrestleMania, but he was there at the Elimination Chamber when John Cena turned heel. I believe that John Cena is going to be a babyface again. I guarantee you. And no, I do not want to see Travis Scott winning Money in the Bank because that would be god awful. If Travis Scott wins the men's Money in the Bank this year, it's going to be god awful. It's going to be the downfall. And that's all I got to say. But I'm just speaking facts by itself. All right. John Cena's promo has been nothing but terrible. It has been nothing but a failure. That's all I got to say. Master of their craft, sponsored by Arby's. John Cena is a very different man the past few months, and his WrestleMania 41 won only sealed the deal as our new undisputed WWE champion, a and a man and a man set to run wrestling. John Cena is going to drop the undisputed WWE championship at SummerSlam, and I guarantee you that's going to happen. All right. It says tomorrow night at Saturday night's main event, R-Truth faces John Cena as he tries to bring his childhood hero back to his sense. Now, John Cena and R-Truth has battled at Capital Punishment for the WWE Championship at 2011, when John Cena defeated R-Truth for the WWE Champion and retained that Capital Punishment at 2011. And that's nothing but facts. And let me continue. Back at ringside, Damian Priest music hits, but this only brings out Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre going right back at it, picking up where they left off earlier tonight. Damian Priest finds himself in the ring with a microphone saying tomorrow night he'll put Drew in a hospital, but tonight he gets his pound of flesh. Pound of flesh. He drops the mic and goes back after Drew McIntyre. Security guards trying to break things up. And Miss let them fight chant before we cut away. Let Drew McIntyre and David Priest go at it. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna face each other tomorrow, so let them fight. Let Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre continue to brawl, and that's all I gotta say. Alright. Backstage, Solo Sikoa talks to JC Matado ahead of their upcoming tag team match before Jacob Fatu interrupts. He doesn't know JC Matado. He doesn't like JC Matado, and his word rallies up JC Matado before Solo Sikoa intervenes to tell them to channel that anger towards the match. Solo Sikoa talks about Jimmy Uso leaving the family, but he never did. He starts to say Jacob Fatu's catchphrases before the U.S. champion cuts him off, saying it's correctly before walking away. Alright. Back at ringside, Chelsea Green accompanies the Secret Harvest to the ring for our next match as we go to commercial break. So we'll go to commercial break. Backstage, Charlotte Flair is walking when she overhears Alexa Bliss talking about friendship, but not to the Queen, instead to Lily. Alexa Bliss says she'll see Charlotte Flair at Money in the Bank. Oops, sorry. That part was funny. I got a good chuckle out of it. I got a good laugh out of that. Alright, back at ringside. Back at ringside. B-Fab and Mitch make their way out to get this match on the way. So we get a tag team match. Secret Harvest versus Mitch and B-Fab. This tag team match was god awful. We start off with Piper Niven and B-Fab going at it, with Alpha going getting a tag for a double team. Senton by Piper Niven allows Alpha to get a near fall before bringing B-Fab to her corner for some stumps, and a tag to Piper Niven to continue to beat them. B-Fab starts to fight back before a side slam, but Piper Niven leads to a 2 count. B-Fab B-Fab is struggling for a tag as Piper never keeps her away, but a DDT by B-Fab allow her to tag in Mitchin while Fire tags in as well. Mitchin goes after Fire before sending Piper Never out of the ring. And Piper Never takes a head scissors by Mitchin before Piper Never takes a roundhouse kick. Sliced bread by Mitchin forces her out of the ring. Chelsea Green tries to intervene from the apron, but before Selena Vega cuts her off, and a tag from BFAP leads to a neck breaker in the pin. The winner by pinfall, Mitchin and BFAP. That tag team match was god awful, but Selena Vega did get back against Chelsea Green. All right, that's all guys. But that tag team match was god awful. Alright. They celebrate as we cut backstage where Street Profits addresses Frax them ahead of their tag team title match. Despite the road that they've been on, they have a tough task ahead of them facing Ciampa, who who are cut off, who are cut off by Soul Sikoa and his pals, making their way out to ringside for our next match. They take down they walk down the ramp as we go to commercial break. So we go to commercial break. Video package: Santos Escobar talks to Lars Garza about coming together at Words Collide to stand tall as the best in front of their people. Legado del Fantasma takes on El Hydro del Junior, El Hydro del Rager Jr., Psycho Clown, and Pagano at War Collide. Back at ringside, Jimmy Uso and Ray Phoenix way out make a way out before this match gets on the way. So we get the United States WWE United States Championship, Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo versus Ray Phoenix and Jimmy Uso. And this tag team match right here, this was a fun tag team match for what it was. We start off with Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso before JC Matado tags himself in to go after Big Jimmy. After a few strikes in, and Jacob Fatu tags himself back in, following a stare down with JC Matado, and this gives Jimmy Uso and Ray Phoenix an opening to see both men out of the ring for a dive by Ray Phoenix. Soul Sikoa helps them to their feet, trying to calm them down as we go to commercial break. Not back from ringside. Back from commercial break, JC Matado has control as he slams Jimmy Uso to the mat for a standing moonsault. Tag tag made to Jacob Fatu after bringing Jimmy Uso to the corner, and the United States Champion hits a running hip attack on Jimmy Uso, followed by a running splash. Soul Sikoa talks to his brother from ringside as Jacob Fatu continues the attack, leading leading to another hip attack in the corner. Alright. JC Mateo tags in, setting Jimmy Uso up on the turnbuckles before Jimmy Uso fights him off. Cross school by Jimmy Uso takes JC Mateo to the mat as Ray Phoenix reaches for the tag. Ray Phoenix rushes in as Jacob Fatu tags and only to take a fury of offense from the luchador, who takes him down with the Hurricanrana. Jacob Fatu sends him back to the ropes, but ends up taking a poison rana as Ray Phoenix gets a 2 count. Ray Phoenix goes back to work on Jacob Fatu before he gets sent to the mat as um, the mat with a Samoa drop. Ray Phoenix heads to the corner as Jacob Fatu looks for a hip attack, but the luchador dodges as JC Mateo gets the tag instead. German suplex by JC Mateo, but Ray Phoenix lands lands on his feet, allowing Jimmy Uso to get a tag for a splash and a cover. But Jacob Fatu breaks it up with a senton. He gets out with a missile drop kick by Ray Phoenix, who goes for a dive through the ropes, only to be slammed onto the announcer table by Jacob Fatu. Back in the ring, Jimmy Uso takes JC Mateo down with a spear before going up top. Sosa Core cuts him off for to, for a chat, allowing JC Mateo to dodge the splash, and he hits the tour of the island for the win. The winner by pinfall, the United States Champion Jacob Fatu and JC Mateo. Now Solo Sikoa should have been banned from ringside. Well, this match was this was a fun tag team match. Alright, the pair recruitedly celebrate alongside Solo Sikoa as we cut away. Now, my honest opinion, I would love to see Jacob Fatu versus JC Mateo. Yeah, Jacob Fatu versus JC Mateo. Take my money to see that match. Yeah, take my money to see that match. I would love to see that match between the werewolf Jacob Fatu and versus JC Mateo in a one-on-one dream match. Take my money to see that match. I will watch that match. Backstage, LA Knight wants to talk to us about money in the bank and the odds being against him, but he thinks about it returning to the city that helps makes him first. He has to go through Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura, looking to walk through the light to take out the man living out the spooky season year round. He calls himself a living, breathing, talking money in the bank because he's LA Knight, yeah. Elsewhere, we see R-Truth as we are said to hear from him ahead of Saturday night's main event. He salutes his joy of his childhood hero John Cena as we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, did you know tomorrow night's Saturday night's main event will mark the first time John Cena and R-Truth have faced off since 2011 at Capital Punishment? That's facts for ourselves. But I'm gonna say R-Truth is going to lose to John Cena tomorrow at Saturday night's main event. We get a reminder of our main event as the WWE Tag Team Champions is on the line between Street Profits versus Fraxim. Alright, this was a solid promo by R-Truth. Back at ringside, R-Truth comes down the ramp to a nice reaction from the crowd. He asks Savannah, Georgia, what's up before talking about Saturday night's main event. He says he's not facing his childhood hero tomorrow night because the man we seen, he doesn't recognize him. R-Truth couldn't figure out where it went wrong or how he could prevented this. But this, but then he realized the problem. What gets him? To repeat what he says before saying the problem is power. John Cena used to call R-Truth his friend and brother, but the more power he got, the more disconnected he felt. The test matches less, the replies slower. The the phone calls stopped. R-Truth spelled John Cena was annoying with him because no matter what he did, it was wrong. He thought he was getting on John Cena's nerves, but he talked to others who felt the same way. John Cena isolated himself with power, like that goblin fella from Lord of the Rings. He corru- he corrupted himself with power, and that's what John Cena is. Calling the title his precious, and yes, this means our truth is talking about the god the golem the golem. Our truth doesn't like what John Cena has become, and doesn't believe John Cena is happy. John Cena is the greatest of all time, and he doesn't know if he can bring back John Cena, bring back John Cena, bring Cena back. But he's gonna try. You're not gonna take our true joy away from him. John Cena, John Cena talks about wanted to ruin wrestling. If R-Truth wants to save wrestling, he's got to save John Cena. R-Truth doesn't want to put his hands on John Cena, but if he has to, he will be the hustle, loyalty, and respect back into him. He closed out by saying that tomorrow night he'll see it more one more time. If John Cena wins, we riot. What's up? You might as well just start a riot tomorrow because our troop is not going to win against John Cena. That's all I gotta say. But that was a good promo. That was a solid promo by our truth. They go. I remember when John Cena versus R Truth for the WWE Championship back in 2012 at Capital Punishment. When John Cena retained the WWE Champion against R Truth at Capital Punishment in 2011. I remember that. But anyway, let me continue. We get a look back at the brawl on Raw involving CM Punk, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, and Braun Breaker ahead of their tag match tomorrow night at Saturday night's main event. But I got this bad feeling in the back of my head that Sami Zayn's going to turn on CM Punk. I got this bad feeling. All right, but we'll see. But I could be wrong. But I got this bad feeling that Sami Zayn's going to turn on CM Punk because I could definitely see it coming. All right. Back at ringside, Aleister Black makes his entrance for our next match as he faces LA Knight and Shinsuke Nakamura in the Money in the Bank qualifier. up next. Commercial break. Video package things are Video package things are far from over between Naomi and Jade Cargill, but Nia Jax doesn't care about that as they got in her way next week. They'll face off to see who heads to Money in the Bank. In my honest opinion, I think that Naomi should have head to Money in the Bank, but I'm thinking that I got to go with that Jade Cargill's gonna be headed to the Women's Money in the Bank. So I got Jade Cargill going to the Women's Money in the Bank next week on SmackDown. All right, back at ringside, Shinsuke Nakamura heads down the ramp as we get ready for this Money in the Bank qualifier, rounding out the competitors. As LA Knight who gets a big pop as he goes to the ring to get this match on the way. All right, so we get the men's Money in the Bank Triple Threat qualifier match: Aleister Black versus LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And this was a good match, good triple threat match. Shinsuke Nakamura and Aleister Black go after LA Knight before turning their attention to each other, allowing LA Knight to strike back. We see LA Knight and Aleister Black teaming up for a high and low on Shinsuke Nakamura to send him out of the ring before going after each other to a "We won" tables chant, which gets stopped when LA Knight sends Aleister Black to the corner for some stomps. He gets tripped up by Nakamura, who sends him out of the ring to boo before Aleister Black gets back to his feet. They go after each other with kicks that leads to a standoff before Aleister Black lays in some strikes, forcing Nakamura to the ropes for a knee strike. Aleister Black gets to the turnbuckles, but gets intercepted by LA Knight for a megaplex, but Shinsuke Nakamura breaks the pin attempt with a splash as we go to commercial break. So we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Aleister Black gets a near fall on Shinsuke Nakamura before LA Knight intercepts. BFT Blood for Trauma gets blocked, but so too does and so does a Black Mass, leading to LA Knight getting a near fall. He then gets sent out of the ring by Nakamura, who sends him into the steel steps before heading back into the ring. Strike Strike Fest ensues between Aleister Black and Shinsuke Nakamura. The latter is sending Aleister Black into the corner just as LA Knight returns to the ring. He sends Nakamura out before going after Aleister Black, who lands a knee, forcing the megastar to the outside. All right. He hits a moonsault off the apron onto LA Knight and Nakamura, but LA Knight sends him back into the ring, which proves constantly when Aleister Black hits a plancha onto LA Knight. Aleister Black brings LA Knight back in the ring, but is sent to the mat with a reverse DDT. He goes to the turnbuckles for an elbow drop for Shinsuke Nakamura to break up the pin and go for a cover of his own. But Aleister Black gets the ropes and stops the count. Kinshasa is blocked by Aleister Black, but he is sent into the ring post by Nakamura. He runs for another Kinshasa, but takes a Black Mass instead, only for LA Knight to send him out of the ring and steal the pin for the victory. The winner by pinfall and advances to the Money in the Bank men's ladder match, LA Knight. This was a good triple threat match between LA Knight, Aleister Black, and Shinsuke Nakamura. All right, let me move on. He retreats up the ramp to celebrate as we cut backstage, where Carmella Hayes and The Miz talk about seeing Aleister Black fall to qualify. They then talk about Carmella Hayes getting into the qualifying match next week on SmackDown, and move that Miz takes credit for, as he chose his new friend over himself. The Miz says he'll make sure Carmella Hayes leaves Los Angeles with the, with Dre around his neck and the Money in the Bank briefcase in his hand. As long as Carmelo Hayes listens to him, they are mellow, don't miss, and they are awes him. I believe that the Miz is going to turn on Carmelo Hayes, or Carmelo Hayes might turn on Miz. That's all I gotta say. But we'll see. We'll see. We get a look at our main event of the WWE Tag Team Champions, which is coming up next when the Street Profits defense against Fraxium. Commercial break. Video package. Jay Uso is ready to yeet his way to a win over Logan Paul at Saturday night's main event and retain the World Heavyweight Championship, which is not going to happen tomorrow. Jay Uso is going to retain the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event against Logan Paul. There is no way that Logan Paul is not going to be Jay Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. That there is no way. But I know that Jay Uso is going to crash out on Logan Paul tomorrow night at Saturday night's main event. Watch I tell you. And Jay Uso is going to retain the World Heavyweight Championship at Saturday night's main event. Watch I tell you. And I'm going to come back on my channel and cut it straight down the middle. Watch I tell you. All right, let me move on. I just have to put that out there. It's nothing but facts. All right, we get a rundown of the card for Saturday night's main event tomorrow night, including the Women's United States Champion on the line as Selena Vega defends against Chelsea Green. And I'm going to say this right now. Selena Vega is going to retain the Women's United States Championship tomorrow at Saturday night's main event because Chelsea Green is not going to take the Women's United States Championship off of Selena Vega tomorrow at Saturday night's main event. Main event. That's not going to happen. Selena Vega is retaining the Women's United States Championship tomorrow night at Saturday night's main event tomorrow. Selena Vega is retaining it tomorrow, and that's all I gotta say. All right. Backstage, Solo Sikoa talks to his bloodline about sticking together when Nick Aldis delivers the news that Jacob Fatu is the final qualifying match for Money in the Bank. Solo expressed some levels of happiness for Jacob Fatu, who tells Solo he loves him before walking off. That part was funny. Alright, we get one last graphic reminding us of our main event of the WWE Tag Team Championship before going to commercial break. So we go to commercial break. Video package. Bianca Belair addresses her struggle the past 6 months. The only consistent thing in life is change in me, and the best is yet to come. All right. Next week, Bianca Belair returns to SmackDown, and we get our final qualifying matches for Money in the Bank. Plus, John Cena returns to SmackDown with the fallout from Saturday night's main event and his next step. His next step. Back at ringside, there will be enough talk. It's time for our main event. Fraxion makes their way out first, ready to challenge for the WWE Tag Team Champions. Out next are the champs. The Street Profits make their way to ringside, and we get ring introductions for both teams to get this match on the way. I missed them cups falling down the ceiling of the Street Profits entrance. I missed that. But it is what it is. So we get the main event of the evening, the WWE Tag Team Championship match. WWE Tag Team Championship match, the Street Profits, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins versus Defense against Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom. And this tag team match right here, this was a fun tag team match. That's all I gotta say. This was a fun tag team main event match. We start off with Dawkins and Axiom, who gets taken to the mat as Angelo works the arm. Axiom gets back up, heading to the corner as Fraser tags in. He takes Dawkins down, but Angelo is already back up, sending Nathan Frazier to the canvas with a shoulder tackle for a 2 count. Tag made to Montez for a double team and therefore Dawkins tags back in, sending Montez Ford to the corner for some more damage. Nathan Frazier fights back and gets the tag to Axiom, and chaos ensues with all 4 men going at it before the Street Profits are sent out of the ring, where the challengers get get the drop with a pair of dives from each man as we go to picture in picture. Alright, we're back from picture in picture. Dawkins is brought back into the ring, and Axiom gets some strikes on him in the corner. Angelo Dawkins fights back as Axiom retreats to the corner, only to take a set of stumps from Dawkins. As Montez Ford tags in for a senton, Montez Ford gets a period of offense on Axiom, leading to a 2 count as he and Dawkins tag his opponent from doing the same. Dawkins used his power to keep Axiom down, and we return to the action. Chinlock by Angelo Dawkins, but Axiom gets to his feet, only to be driven back to the mat by Angelo Dawkins. He changes in another chinlock, but Axiom breaks free before Dawkins sends him to the corner for a tag to Montez Ford. Montez Ford drives his shoulder into Axiom in the corner and to the corner before tagging in Angelo back in for a running charge and a near fall. Axiom managed to get yeah Axiom managed to get a crossbody on Dawkins and the tag to Nathan Frazier, but just as Montez Ford tags back in, only to take a fury of offense by Nathan Frazier for a running shooting star in a 2 count. Nathan Frazier stays on the attack with a fake out and a drop kick, but Montez Ford kicks out once again. Angelo Dawkins gets the tag and the champ takes control for a 2 count, and we go to picture in picture. All right. All right, we go back from picture in picture. Dawkins sets up Nathan Frazier on the ropes, but Nathan Frazier fights back to get a near fall. Axiom tags and is met with display of power by Dawkins to keep him at bay before Montez Ford tags in, taking Axiom back to the mat for a near fall. Montez Ford shows some frustrations as he mockingly boots Axiom in the head before hitting the ropes for a running punt. Axiom struggles to his feet before Montez Ford sends him down hard with a suplex. Montez Ford continues the attack but only gets a near fall as we return to action. Alright. Montez Ford mocks Axiom as he gets back to his feet, hitting some kicks until Montez Ford sends him to the ropes, but Axiom catches him with the weird naked choke. Nathan Frazier cuts off Dawkins, and Montez Ford struggles to try to break the hold until Dawkins superplex Nathan Frazier onto Axiom to break the submission hold. Tag made to Nathan Frazier, who has Montez Ford up on the turnbuckles. Montez Ford fights him off, but Nathan Frazier hits a superplex on Axiom, makes the blind tag, and a golden radar combination leads to a 2 count for the challengers. Alright, Nathan Frazier hits the ropes but is cut off by Dawkins as Montez Ford rolls up Axiom for a 2 count. Tag made to Dawkins for a double team and over and a cover before Nathan Frazier breaks the pin. Axiom sets Dawkins up for a Spanish spot. Is Nathan Frazier makes a third tag, hitting the Phoenix Splash for the cover, but Montez Ford breaks the pin to save the titles. Alright, to save the titles. Chaos ensures as DIY runs down to the ring only to be cut off cut off by Motor City Machine Guns back in the ring. Montez Ford dives over turnbuckles to lay in the lays to lays in the attractions. Um, factors are the factors are. I'm sorry. To factors the factors as Dawkins hits a the spine buster on Frazier. He breaks it. He he uh he looks for a tag, but Montez Ford is still in. He's still on the outside, but but he managed to. I'm sorry, but he managed to makes the tag. Makes the tag. Montez Ford goes up, and the lights goes out. The lights are back on, and the Riot Six are here. Big pop from the crowd for the group, and they Montez Ford and go after Montez Ford and even more chaos as the ref calls for the bell. All right, it says the match ends. The match ends in no contest. They unleash. Yeah, it says they unleash hell on everyone involved, including a street sister Abigail from the Uncle Howdy and on Gargano before sent before standing in the ring. Their music hits and Uncle Howdy looks up to tell Lay Bray Wyatt, stating, "My life for you," as SmackDown comes to a close. And WWE SmackDown goes off the air. All right, let me get my opinion. What I think about WWE SmackDown. Now, WWE SmackDown was a decent show for what it was, and that's all I gotta say. And I give it a and I give it a I give it a 5 out of 10. All right, if you guys enjoyed my WWE SmackDown review on how Giulia qualifies qualifies for Money in the Bank on SmackDown, that's the title of the video. Um, if you guys enjoyed my WWE SmackDown review on how Giulia qualified for Money in the Bank on SmackDown, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and full watch the video from all the way from the beginning all the way towards the end. Make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to my channel for more wrestling content that I do on the channel, where I give you guys the full review, not the half of my review. Follow my social media down below in the description, and I'll make a YouTube short video. Make sure you guys my thumb up twice in the video because the proof is in the pudding. And I will see you guys tomorrow for my WWE Saturday Night Main Event review and highlights. And that's all I gotta say. I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang.